Emmanuel, and this is not going to be so technical, but I would like to talk about a topic I'm actually very enthusiastic about, and I've been studying on the side for a while. It bridges how human behavioral sciences and psychology and AI, and kind of give a mental frame of how this will be useful in our future going forward. So let's begin with a question. What's the most important thing to us humans, to you as a Homo sapien? Anyone like to guess? It's not your phone, it's not your car, your Tesla. Surprisingly, it's not even your spouse, sorry. It's first and foremost yourself. Science tells us, and this makes sense, we are built for self-survival, self-preservation, so the most important thing is ourselves. Secondly is other people, because they look like us, obviously. And we have something called a mirror neuron, which does exactly what it sounds like. It mirrors. That's why babies copy everything you do. And from there, we develop how to be social beings and all the things that were built for survival. So AI aims to replicate us, our intelligence, do what we do, and everything in between. So it does make sense that for you to do this safely and ethically, it should first understand us, right? And psychology is the study of us. It tells you why you are the way you are, what makes you tick, what doesn't make you tick, why you get angry, and how we came to be. So that's how the two, psychology and AI, bridge. So I'll begin with an example. So this is a study from 2025. It's by a British firm called Biomed. So they took these women in a war zone, and that you're in a war zone, you're trying to reduce stress and anxiety, and they built a chatbot called Friend. It's the military, they are not so clever at naming things, so they named it Friend. And the people who used Friend saw a 30 to 35 reduction in anxiety symptoms versus those who went to a real therapist, which is 45 to 50. Good, humans still work. What does this all mean? Can these things actually offer real help? You have tools like the Friend what I've just talked about, others like Replica, Weebot, all these are using psychology-informed theories to kind of like help people, cognitive behavioral sciences and all these things, which shows a real potential. And yes, 45, the ones who went to a real human did better, which shows us that yes, the human is still needed in the loop. But there's a huge significance here in that these things are available 24/7. They can work in a crisis situation. These women were in a war zone. You're not going to ship off a tank full of friends or therapists. So these are people who help you reduce anxiety to a war zone. And thirdly, and most important to me, is they can work in underserved region. I grew up in a region where things like counselors and therapists don't exist. It's not a thing in my culture. So as yes, 35% reduction in stress and anxiety is a very small thing, it beats nothing. Then you have things where you can find psychology and engineering intertwining. You have studies that have shown that if you apply some emotional awareness, psychology insights into your data, your user engagement rates are higher by 24%. Your error handling rates are better if you inform them with psychology insights, if you inform your algorithm with psychology insights, which all these things go to show that it's not just a nice to have thing. These things can actually inform us and give us better performing metrics. So I know what you're saying. Yeah, Emmanuel, I'm a coder, I only speak Python. Why are you telling me about humans? And there are some tools we can use, and branches in psychology we can use for your AI development, because you are the people going to code these things. So for the least, you should at least know how we work. And I know you think, I'm a human. Of course I know how humans work. I've been wearing clothes my whole life. I'm not going to tell the people at Louis V or Chanel how to do their jobs. So you have things like cognitive psychology. This is how we perceive, how we learn, how we make decisions. So if you understand a bit about this, you create systems that align with the natural thinking patterns of humans, not just design things that humans won't even understand. And this is not just fluff. This is backed by decades and decades of data. How you can easily understand why a user may misinterpret your output. You're trying to say something, but the user is speaking something else. All this is from cognitive psychology. You have social psychology, how we relate, how we are as human beings, what makes us tick, what makes us trust. If you understand some of these, you will be able to kind of develop systems that users can actually trust. Human-computer interaction. You've all used apps that are stressing. Too many steps to get to a simple thing. Too many things, cognitive overload. All these are people who need to understand theories like cognitive load. And if you understand these things, you can actually design systems that are intuitive, accessible, and instead of frustrating and overwhelming users, they actually work. Development psychology deals with seeing a child. If you're developing something that's going to be used by a child all the way to an adult, you need to understand development psychology. So you design appropriate things, not things a 2-year-old is supposed to use, but it sounds like a 60-year-old. Clinical psychology, the behavioral therapy that I talked about, and all these things. All this is to show that this is just theories, and by interpreting all these, you will align your apps more closely to how we humans understand. Let's look at, let's say maybe one of those, the human-computer interaction. So again, you've been through scenarios where there's too many multiple screens for a simple task. The menus are too much, there's too much on your screen. All this is cognitive load. And if you don't understand these things, well, no matter how technical your thing is, if you overlook how humans think, learn, and interact, your thing will just end up frustrating users. We also are full with biases, cognitive bias, heuristics, all these things. So if AI understands the human, if you understand humans' tendency towards recency bias, you can make your algorithms can make more balanced recommendations if you understand some of these insights. Now, if I'm to give you an example of this that's been worked in the real world, you have, just to show you that AI is not just data, but people. And if you incorporate those two, it will work better. These are studies done in Hong Kong where they're supposed to detect stress detection and all these things. But they didn't just use single modality. They incorporate things like facial expressions, ECGs, voice, and as a result, you see 20% over a single modality. All this is just to show you that when you combine human psychology with technical design, you create an AI that's more humane, that's more understandable, that's more user-friendly. And you can incorporate other, you can enable other items like other aspects like early interventions, personalized support. An intervention, this is where you can detect subtle changes in human behavior and psychology before they even happen. We have the data now, we have the tools. All of you are wearing smart watches, all of you are looking at your phones. And you need to understand these things. Continuous monitoring, because unlike the therapist who we see once a week, your watch is always with you. And if we incorporate these insights, we could design something better. This is a two-way loop, of course. Psychology will inform AI, all the things I've been talking about, developing better emotional responses, but AI will also inform psychology, because these are people. You're not going to do rapid tests on people. But with AI, we can speed up these tests. And I did say this thing is not going to be so technical, so I'll skip this. Again, I'll pause. This makes sense. If I'm designing something that's going to be used by a human for a human, the least you could do is you, the person, first of all, designing it, understand humans. And the AIs themselves, let them understand humans. If we miss this is where some of the ethical problems come in. So, these are things that are going to take my mood, blah, blah, blah. How am I supposed to be sure that someone is going to use this ethically or not manipulate or discriminate against me? You as designers have ethics at the center of this. No transparency, no black boxes. Because again, no matter how smart or accurate your AI system is, if people don't trust it, they are not going to use it. Human bias. This is not just a bug. This is recorded in the data. There's a 2018 MIT study that showed facial detection things are less accurate for darker skinned people, more especially women. So if you don't understand how inherent human bias works in the brain, it's going to be very hard to fix it in your algorithms. Fairness and explainable AIs, all these things are supposed to help us do better. So this flesh, this mechanism that we have is from 100,000 years old. If your body came with a made-in date, it will be made in 100,000 AD. It's very old. The tech you're using though is from 1,000 years into the future. That's like strapping a rocket engine on a tricycle. Yes, very good, but at the end of the day, we will not be able to cope. All this is addiction by design. Companies know this, and you have things like TikTok's infinite scrolling, tapping into neurological mechanisms that exist, and they will be exploited. You've heard of all these things, exploiting loss bias, aversion, limited time. This is psychology at play against you. But there's also psychology at play for you. If you have people using the apps like Little Wellness, but my favorite is the Khan Academy, who are using psychology. This is recent, Duolingo as Khan Academy, using psychology insights to make learning paths for students better, because it can adapt and detect when you're frustrated and pull back, detect when you're weak, and go on. And those some of the examples. An example is even the AI workplace. Imagine if you look all the communication data, the right hours, and all these things. You could detect burnout before you actually get burnt out. It's been tested, it's been tried, and it shows that workload distribution is better, team dynamics is better. Now, as I conclude, psychology is the user manual for humans, how to assemble you, how to take you apart, and us as the future tech leaders, let human understanding guide every algorithm we build. Because again, you're not coding this for cows, for squirrels, for trees. You're coding it for humans, you're going to be working with humans, around humans, for humans, no matter what discipline you end up. So at least you could at least understand humans. And for the school and admins here, let one class include a psychology class. Again, I'm a data scientist, I'm not going to be doing this for cows. And again, you're thinking, I know humans, I've been a human all my life. You'll be shocked. Anyway, thank you, I've been Emmanuel. You can scan to stalk me or whatever. Thank you.